Hey everyone, and welcome to another Rope for a Cue video. It's been a couple of weeks, I'm sorry about that, but things have just got in the way. I'm sure you don't want to hear a list of excuses from me, but I'm going to give you them anyway. The main thing is the end of the snooker season happened after the World Championships, and I think everybody that I know of, and certainly me, just took a couple of weeks out from snooker, both playing it and watching it, and that was no different for me. I didn't really get down to the club to practice, and I didn't really fancy making YouTube videos really. Also, the weather was pretty good that period. We had some pretty nice weather here in the UK, sort of early mid-May, which obviously kept me out of the snooker club a little bit, and also kept me from in front of the laptop any more than needed, which is basically my day job is what's needed, and this is unfortunately voluntary. I say unfortunately, it's fortunately voluntary, so I can chop and change and come on as I like. And also, to be quite honest with you, I was just struggling for video ideas, and I was also struggling a bit with my snooker. When I was playing, I wasn't playing particularly well, and I didn't really have a lot to show really. I hadn't made any real progress in any of the practice routines I'd been working on. Yeah, I was just struggling for both video ideas and struggling with my snooker, and I think the two were probably related. If I was playing well and clearing some of the practice routines I was working on, it wouldn't have been a problem. Or if I was playing well enough in my matches that I felt like recording them, it also wouldn't have been a problem. That's not to say I haven't got stuff to show you. I have got some videos coming up, including a couple more matches against Brendan Explores, my friendly YouTuber, who we went to Landywood Snooker Club together for a day and played a couple of best of fives, and I've got those to show you. I don't know whether I'm going to make them into videos yet or I'm going to do live rebroadcasts with live commentary yet. It depends. The live rebroadcast appeals because it means less preparation, but also that's live and I've got to do live commentary, which is a bit scary, but it's something I want to get used to, so maybe we'll give it a go. Anyway, on with today's video. And remember, I just said that I had a little bit of creative block in terms of video ideas. Well, this video idea actually came from a subscriber, none other than Simon Seabridge, who is a level 2 snooker coach up here in Wem and also has a YouTube channel. And he suggested, having watched me and encouraged me through my colours clearances in the early part of this channel, that I now start looking at trying to do multiple clearances back to back. And whilst this is a good idea, I remember when I was first practicing my original colours clearances, one thing I wish I'd done from the start, and one thing I'll tell anybody who's starting out in colours clearances from scratch, is to practice the specifically difficult shots. And in my particular case, the one shot I had trouble with was brown to blue. And I think it's probably the shot most people have trouble with. I probably would have done it in tens of attempts instead of hundreds of attempts. So in this case, I decided to take my own advice on board. And instead of trying to do a full back-to-back colours clearance, because I still don't have any kind of real reliability when it comes to colours clearances, even with ball in hand, I'm probably 1 in 5, maybe 1 in 3 if I'm playing well and concentrating well. But yeah, 1 in 5, which is not really conducive to doing a back-to-back clearance if that's with ball in hand. So what I wanted to practice was specifically black to yellow, because if I can get from black to the yellow, roughly in the area where I put the cue ball, if it was ball in hand, I'd have the best chance. So that's what I thought I'd do in this video, was to look at how I'm going to play black to yellow from the most common positions I would probably land on the black. What I'm going to try and do is, if I get good position on the pink, chances are I can usually land with fairly relative ease in one of these positions. So knowing how to play these particular shots is hopefully going to help put me in good stead for getting a back-to-back colours clearance. So if I can get this shot down like 1 in 2 times, then I might start doing the back-to-back colours clearances. Or actually the intermediate step, which I think is definitely going to be the case actually, is probably do black to yellow and then the clearance from there, to see if I can do that, and then hopefully, you know, from there I can do the back-to-back colours clearances. So let's take a look at the practice session where I first started looking at these shots, and I'll talk you through my thinking about what I wanted to do with the shot and what I ended up maybe compromising because I didn't maybe quite have the cue power or the skill to pull it off. So after I'd set my phone up as a secondary camera, the first shot I started thinking about, well actually the first thing I started thinking about was actually where would I want the cue ball to go to give me my best chance of starting a cue ball, colours clearance. And I always preferred it as a sort of equilateral triangle. If you imagine an equilateral triangle with the brown and the green, basically. So that's where I'm aiming for. And the first shot I'm going to take a look at is the slightly low black from the right hand side of the table. Right hand side of the table as we look at it from this camera angle. Now, for me, obviously what you want to try and do, well, maybe not obviously, is you want to try and get position on this yellow by approaching the yellow along the line of the shot. So the shot here for a good player is to screw back off the side cushion and approach the yellow on the line of the shot. But unfortunately, I don't really have the cue power. I did several attempts at it, and this was about as close as I got. So I really need to work on my cue power. So the next thing I started thinking about was, what if I played it with topspin and came off the left-hand side cushion? How would that work out? Now, this is an easier shot in terms of you do not need any kind of cue power really at all. But obviously, I'm coming across the line of the yellow here, so actually judging the power is much more difficult. You've got much less margin for error. This time I didn't quite put enough side on it, so I'm putting a bit of top and a bit of right hand or helping side on it just to bring it up the cushion a little bit more, depending on what angle I place the cue ball at. But as you see, I'm finding it quite difficult to judge the power, and it takes me a little while to get this anywhere close to being right. I think this is the time I actually get it right. Yeah, hit it a little bit less, with less power, but maybe a little bit more left hand side, and you can see it rolls up nicely. Here we see it from that phone camera view. I don't think it adds very much, but I thought I'd show you the alternative camera view anyway. Maybe it helps you show how much spin is on the cue ball. And yeah, flicked it in nicely into the not quite exactly on line with the yellow, but not far off. Before we go too much further, if you're liking what you've seen so far, please consider giving the thumbs up at the bottom of the screen and giving the video a like. It really does do me a favour and get this video out to hopefully a wider audience. Also, if you're watching this video without subscribing to my channel, then I'd be really grateful if you would consider subscribing to Wrote for a Cue. It's completely free and it keeps you up to date on when I post my videos, which to be fair has been a little bit sporadic recently, so it's not exactly a weekly event. Anyway, back to the video. The next shot I started thinking about was the low black from the left hand side of the table. So this time I'm playing it with top spin and left hand side to come off the right hand side cushion. So this is basically the same shot as the screw back shot from the last one, but because I can play it with top spin, I can approach the yellow on the line of the shot. So this I found the easiest method to get onto the yellow. So I think from my point of view, I'm going to be trying to land low on the black on the left hand side of the table to get this done. It literally only took me 2 attempts to get this right, and this is the one I get right basically. So you can see where I'm playing the shot, up and just over. Actually, I say that only took me a couple of attempts to get right. That took me, I think, 3 attempts to get right. So yeah, gonna have another go at it now. I think this is the one I get right. So yeah, just a little bit of left hand side, a little bit of top spin, and you can approach the yellow on the line of the shot. And here we see it from that camera view. There we go, nicely done. So the next shot I started thinking about was the high blacks starting from the right hand side of the table. And this time I'm going to try and stun round the angles and again approach the yellow on the line of the shot as I want to. And I don't quite have the cue power the first time round. Don't really get above the pink even at all. But I'm going to give it another go because it's a good line and you don't actually need as much cue power as it looks. And there I get pretty much straight with the pink, but not quite. Ideally I want to be sort of above the blue, basically. That would be the sort of target. And leave myself a relatively straight yellow. Well, even just off straight would give me some options, but let's see if I can do it this time. So here I'm playing basically bottom and left to swing it round off the angles, and that's a better line. Still not quite the power, but actually if it rolled any further I wouldn't have been able to reach it, so I'm just giving it a go, see if I can actually reach this. And I could, and get the yellow in very nicely and get perfect position on the green. So I started feeling a bit cocky, thinking, well, maybe I'll go for the clearance here. Obviously I forgot to put the black back on its spot, but let's see how far I get. Not very far is the answer, unfortunately. So, do I have another go at it? Or do I try something different this time? Yeah, this time I just try and stun off one cushion up the sort of right hand side of the table. And again, this actually worked out pretty well. I landed up level with the blue, pretty much dead straight on the yellow, so, but it didn't go in, unfortunately. So obviously the final shot I started thinking about was the high black from the left hand side of the table, and this time I am just going to try and play it up the right hand side of the blue and pink. But the first time round I didn't quite get enough, whether it be topspin or left hand side on it, so it came up the left hand side. So I'm going to try that again, a bit more topspin, a bit more left hand side, and there we go, pretty much perfect. So I'm pretty happy with that shot as well. So I think the key for me is to try and land on the left hand side of the table, whether it's high or low black. It's definitely easier to get on the yellow for me as a right hander. And there we go, play the yellow in nicely. Actually end up screwing that back a little bit too far, and leave myself a long green to the corner, and slightly low on it, so I'm playing it with a little bit of topspin, a little bit of left hand side, trying to come off the cushion, but I don't quite hit it hard enough and just about make it to the balk line. So this is going to be a tricky old brown, but can I get this brown in and get on the blue? This is when I realised that I forgot to respot the black, so take my eye off the shot. It's probably not going to help me very much to respot the black, and I do that and then I get black on the shot. Didn't really take my time to line up there. And how's this going to go? Well, the answer is not well. Missed that by quite a way. Very disappointing. I mean, this was the last. It was the last couple of minutes of the session, so I thought I'd try to go for the clearance. Didn't really get on the blue. Well, I say that, but I get on this blue. I do quite like these blues, and worth practicing screwing back for the pink. I end up actually hitting that far too hard, but nice blue nonetheless. And can I cut this pink in and get the cue ball right round the angles for the black, just to finish off this session on a high? No, I can't, because the cue ball goes straight in the pocket. Never mind, that is the end of the session. Now you see me unscrew my cue there. So there you go then, that is how I've been practicing black to yellow, and I think I'm going to practice it a couple more times before I try and do the full back-to-back clearance, or at least try and seriously do the black to yellow and then the clearance. Don't know how long that will take me, but hopefully not too long. Anyway, that's all from me today. If you do want to go back and see how I completed my first colours clearance, then feel free to check this video out in the corner. It's a while ago, it's a long time ago, so please don't criticise me in the comments for my queuing or whatever, because it was a while ago.